So in order to add exahash, you need to add Bitcoin machine, right? Is that how you're growing? Basically, you are keep installing machine and they just go and start to mine Bitcoin. How many Bitcoin are you mining nowadays?
We're the first crypto miner to have HPC revenue on our income statement. In Q2 of 2023, we hit about $250,000 a quarter, right, which is $1 million ARR, and we've now grown that to 20 million ARR. Now, some of our competitors like Iris, they're doing great. Everybody loves them. They're almost $10 billion market cap. Right now, we're just under $1 billion market cap. Well, you know what? Iris, their entire year of fiscal financials, they had $15 million of revenue for their GPUs doing AI. Last quarter, we had 5 million. Our quarter, because it was their year end, it was our quarterly. So on an annualized basis, we're at 20 million ARR for HPC revenue. So when you look at the quantum of our HPC revenue, it's on par with Iris. And everybody goes, oh yeah, but growth. So do we.
Hi and welcome back to the Financial Fox for another episode with me, Steffi, your host. Every week I bring to you interesting conversation I had with investor leaders and founders in the crypto and digital asset space. Today on the show, I have Aydin Kilic, CEO and President of Hive Digital Technologies, which is also the partner of the Financial Fox show. I'm really excited to have Aydin back to tell us what has been happening at Hive. I know he has been really busy between meetings and side trip. He's just been to Paraguay where they are building a really big Bitcoin mining and data center project. So we will know all about that. What is happening they plan for the end of the year and also for 2026, because the Fox always want to investigate. So I will get all this information for you, obviously what he can share, because being a publicly listed company is always a challenge to share things publicly, but we will see what we can get out of it. As I mentioned, we are partnering with Hive Digital Technologies for our Financial Fox show. Hive is actually the fastest growing publicly listed Bitcoin miner, and also they were the first crypto miner to implement an AI strategy. They have data center in Canada, Sweden and Paraguay, where now they are building a really big project and they are 100% powered by green energy. If you are a brand interested in AI, I suggest you check out their Buzz HPC, which is their AI subsidiary, to see their cutting-edge solutions. And if you want more information about Hive, visit hivedigitaltechnologies.com to learn more. Now, a couple of things before we get into the show. So first of all, I would like to ask you a favor. If you are watching our interview, please take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel, or if you are watching on other social media, just follow us. Your support is so important to grow the channel so we can educate more people about crypto. And finally, remember that all the content on the show is for informational purposes only and not intended as financial advice. Any opinions expressed by me or my guests are ours alone, and you should not act solely on the back of them. As always, do your own research, level up your skills, and be accountable for your own decisions. With that being said, let's get into the interview. Hi, Aydin, how are you?
I'm good. I just got back from Paraguay. I spent 2 weeks on the road. I was in New York. I was doing the Wall Street Shuffle. I did an interview from the New York Stock Exchange at a bunch of buy-side accounts, and then I flew straight to Paraguay. It was a remarkable experience. Frank, our whole team was there. We went to the Presidential Palace of Paraguay. We went to the Central Bank of Paraguay. The president of the country, Santiago Peña, hosted a YPO event in Asunción, which is the capital of Paraguay. It was absolutely amazing. Our entire executive team flew in so they could see the magic that is happening in Paraguay. And after all of that, we took a helicopter and we flew to our site in Iguazu. The 200 megawatts is 100% complete. And that 6.5 exahash, we did a ribbon cutting ceremony. It was amazing. Then we took a plane to our other site in Valenzuela, 100 megawatts, which is just starting to launch. The first few ASICs have been plugged in, and that's 100 megawatts, and that will get us to 12 exahash in less than 2 months. So super exciting. We filmed the documentary with Simply Bitcoin. I know there's so much happening. I'll turn it
Exactly. Listen, tell me something, because we have done some research here with the team, and we can confirm that Hive has been the fastest growing miner this year, which is quite remarkable. Tell me how. How have you managed to kind of like, hit all the milestones so quickly? It's really impressive.
Thank you. It's been a great team effort. Have an amazing team led by Gabriel Lamas, our country president. Carlos Torres is our technical director in Paraguay. It's really the people and the staff on the ground there. They work so hard. They're absolutely committed. Really interesting takeaway. When I was in Valenzuela, our new site. So just to summarize, Paraguay in total is 300 megawatts. The first 200 megawatts is Iguazu. That's 100% complete. When that was complete, it got us to exahash. When we hit that milestone, we went in 2 months from basically 12 exahash to 18 exahash. We brought on an exahash per week. It was remarkable. And now Valenzuela, the third phase, 100 megawatts, the first 2 exahash are coming online. So we're actually at exahash. We just hit 20 exahash. We just announced that. So that's a super exciting milestone. And I was on site. I mean, it's the civil engineers, the electrical, the technical team that is working directly with Bitmain to install the hydro containers. There was a technician from Bitmain visiting the site, and he said that for a similar deployment of this size, Bitmain noticed there was a Paraguayan team and an American team. The American team has nothing to do with us, another client. They said that the Paraguayan teams are faster in deploying than the American teams, if you can believe it.
So in order to add exahash, you need to add the Bitcoin machine, right? Is that how you're growing? Basically, you are keep installing machine, and then you just go and start to mine Bitcoin. How many Bitcoin are you mining nowadays?
So when we hit 20 exahash, we're now mining over 9 Bitcoin a day. So it's over $1 million a day of revenue from our Bitcoin mining business, which is exciting. Our mining margins based on electrical costs are approaching 60%. Between 55 to 60%, difficulties going up. So it's about 55 to 60%, which is remarkable. So you do the math on that, 55 to 60% profit margin after electrical costs on over $1 million a day of revenue. It's a very profitable business. And when we bought these ASICs from Bitmain last year, we paid $14 a terahash. We were targeting an under 1 year ROI at a $55 hash price. So we're very excited. And it is just plugging machines, but it's a lot more than that, because the hydro containers, there's a lot of mechanical engineering, right? So we have the liquid cooling system where you have a container full of ASICs, and then you have a dry cooler next to it. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send you photos from our trip. You can upload them and put them as I'm talking in this interview. An amazing photo right now of the container. You see all the hoses on the hydro miners. What happens is you have a dry cooler where the water cycles through the dry cooler, and any heat in the water gets radiated through the fins. Then it circles back through the miners. And we actually had a disassembled hashboard. It's really cool. The water actually is the heat sink to the hashboard. So we have a hydro miner. You see all these hoses on the outside. The water is channeling through the machine on top of the chips. The water doesn't touch the chips, but the water passes through metal plates that goes along the entire hashboard. And so it circles through that metal plate and it passes over the circuit board, which draws the heat out, and it carries the heat out of the machine through the pipes of the container over the dry chiller. And then the heat gets released and the water's cooled down and it circles back in. It's absolutely brilliant. It's wonderful technology. I mean, you're seeing it a lot in Paraguay, and you're seeing a lot in countries like Ethiopia, which have a lot of hydropower, but the climate is warmer and more humid.
So tell me, are you going to beat the target of Thanksgiving for the 25 exahash shipping?
Well, we beat the first 2 targets. So our big targets this year, we started the year at about 6.5 exahash. And when we completed phase 1 of Iguazu, that got us to 11 exahash. I round up to 12, right? And that we were ahead of schedule. And then we hit that in June. And then the phase 2 that got us to 18 exahash, we were going to hit by the end of summer. Well, summer's technically not over. I think it ends September 22nd. We hit 18 exahash in late August. We put a press release. That was ahead of schedule. And right now we're telling everyone American Thanksgiving. So all I can say is past performance has shown our first 2 phases, we hit ahead of schedule. I was on site. We hit a few hundred petahash. When we put a press release out I think it was 2 weeks ago when we hit 18 exahash, phase 3 was already starting. Like they already had a few hundred petahash of machines plugged into phase 3. And now that we're at 20 exahash, phase 3 is, I mean, it's well underway. It's almost one third. It's one third. And by the way, the construction for phase 3 is substantially complete. The civil work is done. We were there. I'll send you another photo so you could show Valenzuela. The civil work is done. The site is laid out. All the containers are there. We have our master control room. Now what they're doing is they're just plugging in machines. And so that will, like, it'll allow the hash rate to come online. And then there's all the mechanical engineering where you have to charge the hydro containers, pressurize the line to make sure there's no leaks, fill it with water. Then you put the containers in, test it. And so that all that civil work has been done for the whole site.
Fantastic. So tell me what's next. So you hit the 25. And I know that you can say what you can say, but obviously I want to know what's next. What Hive is looking for 2026? What you are working on that you can share with us?
I actually want to talk about how complex it is to bring on 25 exahash. We went from 6 to exahash basically from May to November. That's like 6 months, and we quadrupled our hash rate in half a year. Like, it's absolutely crazy because it's not just plugging the machines in, then you have to configure them. We have our Hive Central Command, which our CTO has built, and that gives us our best in class uptime in the industry. That's our software. And you're going from managing, 20,000, 30,000 ASICs. Like in Paraguay, we now have almost 60,000 ASICs operating when we're at full capacity. And that's on top of our global fleet before. So, you're talking about globally having, almost 100,000 ASICs globally operating, rough numbers, right? And so when you go from 1,000 ASICs to 10,000 to 100,000 ASICs, right? Those are very rough numbers, not quite 100,000, but I'm giving you the orders of magnitude. When you're scanning globally in Sweden, and in Sweden we have 4 sites, in Canada we have 2 sites, and each site, New Brunswick, there's 4 buildings. So it's like a tree trunk and many branches, and then small branches and leaves. So you have to track all these different miners, which are like leaves on a gigantic tree, and through so many different branches. So sweeping all of that data, sweeping 60,000, 70,000, 80,000 ASICs in seconds, that's the magic. And that's what we're experts at in Hive. And we have to upgrade our systems because guess what? It's not just next door, it's spread out around the world. And what this allows us to have good uptime is we could know if a miner goes offline in Paraguay in building 8 on rack 7, row 12. Boom, we can go pinpoint it, globally. And that's the magic of it. So we've been upgrading our systems. And so we've been scaling with great uptime. A report came out recently. I saw Miner Mag. Remember, it's at 52 exahash, but they're only 75% uptime as per the latest production report. It's tough to manage, but right now we're about 99% uptime at 20 exahash. So as we continue to scale, what's next is getting to 25 exahash and getting that 99% uptime and continuing to be the best in the industry pound for pound. Now, the other thing that's next for us, our stock has gone up about 50%, 50 the last week. So next thing is a stock to re-rate. I truly think today we're a over $1.5 billion stock. Once we're at 25 exahash, we're over a $2 billion stock. We've had numerous investment banks do an enterprise value to exahash analysis, and that puts us well over 2 billion. So I think our stock should re-rate to over $10 US, in my opinion. And some people will say, oh, but those stocks that have a higher multiple have an HPC strategy. It's like, we're the first company to have an HPC strategy. We were running 120,000 GPUs during the Ethereum merge. We pivoted. We're now running 5,000 NVIDIA GPUs. We've grown our AI revenue. I'm looking at the camera. I'm telling the pearl. We're the first crypto miner to have HPC revenue on our income statement in Q2 of 2023. We hit about $250,000 a quarter, right? Which is $1 million ARR. And we've now grown that to 20 million ARR. Okay. Now, some of our competitors like Iris, they're doing great. Everybody loves them. They're almost $10 billion market cap. Right now, we're just under $1 billion market cap. Well, you know what? Iris, their entire year fiscal financials, they had $15 million of revenue for their GPUs doing AI. Last quarter, we had 5 million. So our quarter, because it was their year end, it was our quarterly. So on an annualized basis, we're at 20 million ARR for HPC revenue. So when you look at the quantum of our HPC revenue, it's on par with Iris. And everybody goes, oh yeah, but grows. So do we. So do we. Like, we've broadcasted the market. We just closed on the acquisition of the Toronto data center. When we retrofit that, that'll take about a year, but we're doing our own cloud. 4 megawatts of critical load, we'll be able to fit over 2,000 Blackwells, right? That alone, each megawatt can generate up to $20 million annualized revenue if it's operating Blackwell for AI cloud, right? So that data center alone, when converted, gives us a path to 100 million revenue. Rough numbers, right? Our partnership with Bell, that's another 4 megawatt play. That each megawatt there over the next year, and that's near term. So we have 1 megawatt per quarter coming online with Bell over the next year. And then in a year from now, the airport conversion to liquid cooled will be done, and we'll have another 4 megawatts of capacity. 8 megawatts of Blackwell GPUs, that's a lot of compute. That's over $100 million of ARR, well over $100 million of ARR. And so you look at where we're trading right now. So I think that what's next for Hive is a re-rating of the stock. I think people are starting to get it. I think when I'm going to New York, people are connecting the dots. And then from there, we'll start talking about what's up for 2026. So at least start talking about, oh yeah, we're going to have more megawatts. People are going to say, oh yeah, how are you going to fund it, right? So it's always a balance, right? We want to show and prove. We want to get the benefit of the doubt multiple to remind people that Hive is one of the best players in the game, if not the best. I say that confidently as a CEO because our team has navigated 2 Bitcoin halvings, an Ethereum merge. We've built our own ASIC miner with Intel. No other company in the game has done that. None, right? The only other three companies that have been around as long as Hive, Hut 8 and Bitfarms, I mean, we're the first. They came after Hive. They've had like 5 leadership changes. Frank and I are the longest standing C-suite in the game. And Darcy's the longest standing CFO in the game. That's it. That's a fact. And nobody else navigated an Ethereum merge. None of those guys navigated an Ethereum merge. So it shows that resilience and that tenacity to adapt. And that's why Hive has been so successful. So I think the street's starting to wake up, and we got some really exciting things in the pipeline with Buzz. Again, you close on the acquisition. This data center is right by Toronto, largest metropolitan city in Canada. Vector Institute is based in Toronto. That's where Jeffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, does his research out of. So I think that is going to be a hotbed for AI cloud compute because its jurisdiction is absolutely excellent. And the strategic partnership with Bell, Bell has over 600 enterprise clients. And so it really opens a whole new ecosystem. We're experts in data centers. We're experts in GPUs. So we're actually building the NVIDIA clusters of AI, right? And we're selling that compute. We're not just doing hyperscaler colo. We're building the GPU clusters. We've hired Craig Tavares. He's got a phenomenal resume. And he brings all that experience to Buzz. And so it's a super exciting time to be a Hive shareholder. If you're a Hive shareholder, you're a Buzz shareholder. And stay tuned for 2026.
Fantastic. Aydin, thank you so much for joining. And I'm really looking forward to have you back to talk more about, you are working like really, really hard. I'm sure that just in a few weeks, there would be so much more to discuss.
Yeah, stay tuned. We'll do another one around Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stefania.